Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Bronze Masters League Series game. Today we're going to be looking at a PvT here on Ultrazeme Stronghold. We're going to be doing a little bit of game analysis. And this was kind of an interesting game. Now, I've been having a lot of trouble with mech lately, and I actually find this kind of approach to mech to be really good. And it actually panned out for me in this game, thank God. Definitely I hate when you get to that point in the game where it's just like, okay, he's got me fully contained. I don't really have a whole lot, but I don't want to just leave because it's not technically over, but so this game we're going to take a look at what to do when you scout mech, how to deal with it, and just some general guidelines and approach that you should probably take to playing versus a Meching Tarren as Protoss. So all in all, should be a nice played game. Now I'm going to actually go ahead and speed it up just a little bit because I want to really get into the meat of when I scout it and kind of what are some of the key things that I'm worried about. So going to be doing a relatively standard opening from Protoss, Ultrazeme Stronghold with the in-main natural. Everything's really good, and you're just A-okay, taking that expansion really easy, no problem. Gonna get our Cybernetics core up, got one gas. I've been having a lot of trouble getting my workers in there for some reason. Anyways, so yeah, gonna send a probe down to get ready to put down the Nexus, and then we're doing a little bit of scouting with this probe out here on the map. Want to get an idea of what's going on. So, probe is going to get in, and basically at this point we're looking to see, okay, he's taking a gas. We don't see a reactor yet, so no early like marine type push, and we see his natural finishing up. So pretty standard stuff coming out, and then we also see the marine pop out. So that's a pretty good indication that he's probably going to be focusing on teching a lot faster. He's kind of got one of two options. He can either go straight into his factory and do some sort of like tank push, or he can even follow up with a Cloak Banshee type play. Very viable, and you never know what you'll be up against when you're kind of in this regime. So for us, we're just going to be getting out some units to defend off any type of Reaper stuff, just because that's kind of what I initially thought when I saw the single gas. So going to build a couple of those, and then these guys are going to do a little bit of scouting because we want to get a feel for whether or not he's doing anything out on the map. The main thing is we want to check his third. I've seen a lot of Terrans take a really greedy third as quickly as possible, and it's like the general gist of that is basically you just build up a force, go try and take it out, and if you can, you more or less win. But we don't see a third base, so we're going to send our stalkers back, and then also check out around our third, because we are going to be taking a relatively quick third. Let's see, what did I miss back at home? I did want to go ahead and go I was originally thinking about doing sort of like a blink type play where I'd chill out kind of over here, do some fancy blinking in the main, and just didn't quite pan out that way. But I do want to go ahead and get the robotics facility down just in case. I want to make sure any potential Banshee, things like that. With it being cross-spawn, we have plenty of time to get the Observer out in time to deal with any Cloak Banshees if that were the case. But Stalkers are going to come in here, take out this nice little scouting SCV, which he's not going to get the pleasure of seeing me take my third. And overall, we're just feeling pretty dandy about this. Now, at this point, we really haven't scouted anything. The only thing that we've really seen is kind of his opening. So we're still a little bit in the dark, so definitely want to go ahead and get the Observer out. Now, basically, once the Observer gets into his base is kind of when I get the tip-off that, hey, he's going for mech. He's got several factories already building some stuff out, and we're just like, okay, he's definitely going for that type, more long-term type game. So he goes ahead, plants down a scan, sees, hey, my opponent's taking a third, I'm cool with that, and he's actually going to go ahead and take his third. Now we do notice that he does have a fairly big bioforce, surprisingly. Now I'm really surprised about this because honestly, he should have seen that I only had like a handful of units and probably should have started to pressure this a little bit. I'm really surprised he didn't. But we're kind of gonna get into a phase where, okay, not a whole lot's gonna happen. Pretty sure the observer is out on the field. Actually, currently with that, oh, I send a hallucinated phoenix. That's it. I couldn't remember if I scouted like that or if I scouted with the observer. So observer's going to stay with the army for now, and then the hallucinating phoenix is going to go out to get an idea of what's going on. So feeling pretty good getting our third base up and running and saturated relatively quickly. And now we're going to be focusing on, okay, I originally was going to say, okay, let's go ahead, get out some Immortals and some Colossus and good to go. But obviously the hallucinated phoenix, I believe it already went and did its thing. Yeah, we already saw the 3 factories, so we're like, need to kind of rethink this. Because while Robo Bay is pretty good against a Meching Tarren, I find you really, really, really need the diversity that Sky Toss gives you. So getting up Void Rays and things like that is going to be really, really advantageous for you. So got to take our assimilators, and then also going to go ahead and take a very quick 4th. The reason for this is because we want to give ourselves the flexibility that once this starts to mine out, we can start shifting things over. And then on top of that, we can go ahead and, this is just kind of a bait. We want our opponent to maybe contend this a little bit, and then we can get into a decent enough position to actually do some serious damage to his army. So he's actually going to scout it with his Hellion, and that is kind of his cue to start to push out, if I do recall. So, but meanwhile, we are going to get up another Cybernetics core so we can get double upgrades on our air, which is going to be coming out here real soon. 3 Void Rays at a time, OP, in my opinion. Just tends to be my favored method. So basically, now that we've seen that he's going for a mech type play, we're immediately going to switch over into complete Void Ray production, because really all of our ground units aren't going to be able to do a whole lot to a super massive tank army, which we kind of already saw. And actually, we can even see that he's pretty minimal on Marines. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he's only got 10 Marines in total, so he's pretty much solely on units that can attack on ground. So getting out the Sky Toss as quickly as possible is going to be a very, 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 very good thing for us. And actually is going to want to help us just absolutely annihilate this army. So supply-wise, we're pretty even. He's going to go ahead and set up his tanks into a really nice position and start to siege up this 4th base. And this is kind of where we need to zoom out a little bit and really get a sense of how this engagement happens. Now, I went ahead and scooted around here because I want to avoid having the lack of vision as a function of the brush. So we're going to come in from the side, and basically we're going to be trying to focus down the tanks as quickly as possible, while Hellbats do a really, really good amount of damage to gateway units. The tanks I still think are going to be kind of your main focus. Unfortunately, the Void Rays didn't quite engage at the beginning, but nonetheless, we're going to just absolutely annihilate things, since he really doesn't have a lot of anti-air, and we're basically just able to just completely waltz through this. Now, he does a little bit of move command. I'm not sure why. And we're more or less going to get to take out the rest of this army for free, which is awesome for us. Now, he does get our 4th base, which we are a little bit bummed about, but in retrospect, we were already building our 5th, and we can easily rebuild this this base once again. So overall, the engagement went pretty well. Not like 100% clean ideal, but it gives us the opportunity to potentially do a little bit of a counter push just to see whether or not he macroed up or not. You can see he's kind of frantically building missile turrets and stuff like that because he doesn't want to have to deal with my giant Sky Toss army. Because, I mean, Viking production-wise, he's not really that far into it, and he is still a little bit ahead in upgrades. Gosh darn Tarren upgrades. The little bonus where they get +1 attack and armor for both air and ground mech is kind of OP in my opinion. But that's another topic for another day. Anyways, so we're going to come in here and try and get a little bit of damage done. We do focus down the turret, and we try to focus... I don't remember if I actually took this out. I kind of like started to work on it and then didn't really get a whole lot done with it. But we're a little bit wary here just because we aren't sure whether or not we can fully take this engagement. We go ahead and recall. We get out of there pretty minimally unscathed. And basically at this point we're just going to be focusing on remaxing because that's where we need to be. So getting our 4th base back up, and things are looking pretty good so far. So all in all, we're in a really good position to go across the map once we do max out and start to really push some buttons. He's got to make a decision on how he wants to play this out. Obviously, we see he's continuing on building Thor. He's starting to build Thors, and I don't know why he's still building siege tanks, as he knows that I'm pretty heavily air induced, I guess is. I don't know if that's the right word, but so yeah, so we're feeling pretty good. He's getting up Thors, and his Viking production really is pretty minimal. Starting to get a little bit more, a couple more starports. Now, this is kind of where I start to think, okay, need to really start to question how do we trick him into thinking I'm attacking 100 places at once. So Dark Shrine is going to go down, and then we're also going to be planting down some proxy pylons to do a little bit of harassment to bases that could potentially be here, and then obviously he's got this up already. So far, looking pretty good. We are maxed out now. This is kind of the point in the game where I'm just like, okay, need to start thinking about moving out and really starting pushing the envelope. So we're going to speed it up a little bit, and I believe I'm going to wait a little bit. He does a couple scans. Where did he scan? I don't even remember. But looks like we got some... He's double-checking, making sure I don't have like other bases anywhere. So he's very cautious because he knows he's limited on the number of bases that he has. So we're going to get into a really good position here, get a lot of damage on these Vikings, and obviously Vikings with 2-2 versus 2-2 Void Rays with shields. Obviously we are going to do some serious damage, especially because the prismatic alignment just does so much damage. Going to come in here, get as much damage done as possible. And yeah, pretty much mop up the rest of his army. Now, as you can see by the supply, we've got a 50 supply difference here. So we're basically just going to focus on getting in here, taking down some of these bases. I even managed to slip a DT in here, which was kind of interesting, starting to minimize his production. He's just, I think this is about the time where he starts to realize it, because I'm just like tearing stuff up and he's like, crap. And then we're also going to push the envelope and start to focus down this 4th base he's got over here. So he tries to heal, repair this and get things rolling. And basically we're just kind of getting ourselves into a position where we can just, kind of mop the floor with him. Going to get a lot of damage done on these SCVs. And then the 4th base is kaput. So now with the deficit being almost 80 supply, we're feeling pretty good to just go in here. And I think this is about the time where he says, well, let's do a couple checks on scan. Let's see. Oh yeah, come in here, take out the 3rd, and then he does a little bit of scanning to see what bases I've got. He sees I got a base here. He sees that I'm kind of like expanding over here, and that's kind of the point where he's like, well, yeah, not really much I can do about that. So yeah, very interesting game. Overall, did a pretty decent job. Nothing really much to complain about. I think it was scouted very well executed, and just overall some really good PvT. So yeah, so I'd be interested to hear how you guys deal with mech, whether or not this type of play style is interesting to you, whether or not you think it's a viable playstyle. I think it certainly shows that it's really easy to kind of counter that mech once you've scouted it and realize that, hey, need to get some sky toss and get things rolling in that direction. So yeah, so feel free to leave your comments down in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the cast. Feel free to hit that like button if you did enjoy, and also share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter who are learning Protoss. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Nice to be back on the good, easy schedule. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. So until next time, this has been Chaos, and I will see you in the next game.